All right. Hey, everybody. Glad to be on. And Rosie is coming into the room. Let's put her on.
Hello.
Hi, Rosie.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, it is a delayed response. And are you on the Wi-Fi still, or are you on hotspotted?
I hotspotted it.
You're blurry.
She said it so proudly. I hotspotted it. I would love for you to experiment while we're live. See if you can get back
Well,
on the
can
line.
y'all see me, hear me? What
We
do
can
what do you want me to do? Like,
we can see you, but it's not clear.
Yeah, it's like you're a pixelated person.
deal with me. I don't know what to do. It's the same internet, guys. I don't know. Any
All right.
ideas?
I'll just put it back on the
Think-
Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe put it back on the Wi-Fi. Oh,
Hey,
John's here. He
John's
is
up.
great.
Yeah.
Hi, John.
Guys, we got a great show for you today. We're really excited to be here. And we're just I guess, moving through some technical stuff. Not a
Rosie
big
looks
deal.
good now
Uh,
on my end.
Rosie looks good now. All right. Yeah, yeah. No, perfect.
Oh, now she's frozen.
All
We'll figure it out.
right. Yeah, we'll figure it out. So a lot. Maybe we get a few more people trickling in here. Rosie, we got a really good show, and you're probably thinking, who's this show for? The show's for anyone and everyone looking to buy real estate, and
Are you allowed to
John
adjust?
says as long as she doesn't move, as long as she doesn't move, we'll be fine. Okay. This show's for everyone and anyone interested in real estate. It's a great wealth builder. And guys, if you're buying your primary residence or an investment property, maybe you are, guys, I'm sorry, just that I lost my train of thought. So if you are an investor or even a professional, maybe you're a broker or agent in the market, we do these shows so that we can empower our community and investors, home buyers, and agents because we're all coming together to co-create the experience. And I've even had a few lenders reach out to me and say they enjoy the show. So thank you so much. We're glad to be here. And now let's jump in, guys. How's everybody's week going so far?
Was Rosie not?
I'm just seeing head nods. Anything you guys are noticing out in the marketplace? I mean, because I'll tell you what, the statistics are representative of
I know.
yeah, right. So, yeah.
Oh,
So the statistics are after effect, and maybe there's something you guys are experiencing in the marketplace right now, and you want to talk about it.
I'll tell you what I'm experiencing. I'm experiencing homes starting to go under contract a lot quicker, or homes sitting on the that have been sitting on the market, let's say 30, 50, 90 days, all of a sudden getting 1 to 2, maybe even 3 offers in during the weekend. I'm seeing a lot more activity
No.
of buyers wanting to go around, a lot more activity of like I said, multiple offers or just a home being gone. And I'm seeing a lot less in terms of multifamily units coming to the market.
I think that's going to be a growing trend. I mean, those properties that have changed hands, I feel like there's going to be a point in time where we're going to look back and wish we would have moved on something like this a lot sooner. Construction for multifamily, I mean, it's no surprise, guys. There's only a few pockets in the whole city where they are building or have built multifamily. A lot of new multifamily is not coming online, right? When people think about building multifamily, they build apartment complexes or single family homes. We don't see that mid range fourplexes being built anymore. You don't see very many duplexes being built anymore. Matter of fact, you could go into the MLS and run a search for brand new duplexes, and you're not going to find as many properties, right? It just doesn't exist. So anything that's not being built or being introduced into the market is naturally going to create a gap. And we're going to talk about a lot of that stuff today and just the overall state of the economy. I think it's going to be an exciting conversation. And so if you are, what's that?
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, please.
What I find interesting about the lack of new inventory is it's not just specific to Austin MLS. I'm seeing it in Austin, Houston, Dallas, and Central Texas MLS. Over the past 3 weeks, there have been less MFUs across the board. Houston normally has the most that I have to comb through. They were barely like normally they have about 75 to comb through, and they were really having like 10 to 15 in Houston, which normally has, yeah. Now, Austin is obviously a lot different. Sometimes I barely get 10 that I get to comb through or 15 that I get to comb through in general. But I'm seeing it across the board that it's not that many that are coming on the market.
Okay. Wow. I mean, the market we came out of, there were hardly any multifamily resales.
Yeah.
Much less brand new.
Yeah.
And so when I remember walking into a newly built properties at that time and thinking, God, this is such an anomaly. We're not seeing these new properties, and it's a real rarity to be seeing a fourplex being built. Just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. That's an exciting observation. So let's talk a little bit about the economy and what's happening. I'm going to share my screen here with you guys. Okay, so we're going to jump into the numbers as well. But what we're seeing is a real stabilization and of the overall stats. Now, I'll tell you this, a lot of times people underestimate the idea of investing in the fourth quarter of the year. I think this is going to be a great opportunity that we're walking into. So if you are seeing any properties that are aged, and according to what you're telling me, Bree, it seems like there's going to be an uptick in the market just based off of what you're telling me. And but I would definitely look at making any kind of offers that you want to make going here into the fourth quarter. And I think you can actually drive a really good negotiation for the property that you want, if in fact there's properties there that are staying on the market and haven't sold going into the fourth quarter. Because if we look at the statistics here, this is 2024, this gold line, and we're going back all the way to 2020, which is blue. And we see how 2020 was obviously, without any explanation, a great year. It was probably the height of our market, right? Going back even further back, we can see that 2020 was an amazing year. And as soon as interest rates gone up, the market definitely shifted. But we definitely don't know what's coming ahead on this curve here. But I'll tell you what, I think it's done. If we look at the earlier part of the year, it's stayed in alignment with 2023. And in many parts, the 2024 line is actually stronger than 2023. And so, I don't know. I know down here is usually during the little peaks here. This is where we experience softening in the market. And so during this softening, or at least what appears to be softening, right, I think is the prime time to negotiate. What's your experience?
I think a lot of our investors have done really well in the fourth quarter in the past, on the fourth quarter and the first quarter. I've seen a lot of, depending on what they're looking for, both with resale and new construction, because, even buyers, it's the people that are very serious are looking in the fourth and first quarter.
I think August is actually a really good, August, we just came out of August, and August is when kids are going back to school. So typically that's stayed true, to the long. I mean, we've experienced this for so many years. It's a phenomenon that occurs when school's out. We stop the home search. When kids are out of school, we start looking for homes again. I'd be interested to see what the new school year. I know they're proposing a new 4-day work school week. Is Ella experiencing that too? Is she gonna have a 4-day work school week?
I am not hearing about this yet. And
She said, I'm good. 5 days would be fine.
I do not know how I feel about that. What are we going to do? Ella will come be my showing assistant then.
Well, it'll be shorter school years, from what I understand, or shorter
Listen,
summer.
Can y'all
Shorter
hear
summer.
me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Am I still pixelated or I'm normal now?
You're good, girl.
Good.
Thank God. I have something to say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So talking about the home sales, first of all, that was a great observation, right? 2024 is looking better than 2022, 2023. It's more stabilization. There is one thing that I want to emphasize on the selling side of properties that I have seen consistently, and that is this. On an average in 2024 in Williamson County, 15 days after a price drop, a property went under contract. On an average.
On an average, 15 days after a price drop?
Yep, I have the data right here. I don't want to slow my screen down because of the whole internet. I barely came alive to talk. So, on an average, in February of 2024, in Williamson County, I'm talking at a high level. If somebody wants to go into a city and a certain subdivision, we can do all of that too. On an average, in January, after 21 days of price drop, properties went under contract. February, March looked like 17 days, 14 days, 15 days, 12, 12, 14, 15. So on an average, if we average out from the beginning till now, within 2 weeks of price change, property went under contract. Now, the reason I'm emphasizing this is because, Brie, I know a lot of our buyers walk around and they're writing offers on the properties. And I don't think people understand the power of a price adjustment. When a price adjustment occurs, it's almost like launching a listing at a new price. And a lot of buyers start flocking to those properties because they now all of a become an active listing at a different price. So it's not that you're the only one finding about the price adjustment. The whole buyer pool knows about it. So we should take it a little bit more seriously that if a property is price adjusted, now move forward on those properties, because otherwise you're just going to look at it at under contract.
Mhm.
That's it. You're going to lose the opportunity. So that's price drop. Now, how many properties did price adjustment? Well, in September in Williamson County, 533 properties adjusted price.
Wow.
In April of 2024, 367, 412, 507, 434. On an average, every month, 5 to 400 properties in one county are adjusting prices.
Wow.
So if anybody has curiosity about a certain neighborhood, certain city in a certain county, drop it in a message. Reach out
But
to us. We'll tell you exactly how you're looking.
I want to have this conversation with you guys. I was looking at some numbers and I found that, mortgage applications jumped up 14% the week of interest rates going down. So interest rates went down, and I believe the 18th or 19th of September. And that same week, there was a news article from the National Mortgage Professionals that mortgage applications have jumped 14.2%. And so I think when we went back, when I showed the graph to you guys of, let's see if I can share this again, 1 second. I'll tell you what I think has happened. I think a lot of people went on the sidelines waiting for interest rates to adjust. And so we didn't see the uptick here that we may have. I think it's kind of, when was it announced? Like, I think starting June, July, people were probably sitting on the sidelines, just waiting for the interest rate news.
Yeah.
Right. And then as soon as the interest rate news is released, mortgage applications are being flooded back in, 14%, applications rising. So, and I think with that, from all the research I've done, the
I
likelihood
can
of
back
more
up that
people
data.
in the market,
I'll have your patience.
yeah.
I can back up that data. So I look at new listings on the market and new under contracts, right? So in month of September in Williamson County, 1,020 properties came on the market as new listing. 1,020 properties came on the market as new listings in Williamson County in September of 2024. Guess how many new went under contract?
How many?
891.
Wow.
Mm.
Hence the applications, hence the byproduct. So we have this comprehensive system in our databases where we are able to pull this information for each county, each city, each subdivision. So
Yeah.
don't stay in ambiguity, right? Like people are wondering in the market. I still am stumped.
Well,
Stumped.
mortgage applications to jump 14% is quite a bit because, or at least during that same week. I
Bree,
don't think it's a coincidence.
yeah. Bree, how many times do we get? And by the way, for people who are wondering, market is hot or not, right? 1,020 properties came on the market in September and 881 went under contract. You know what's the average days on the market?
Mm.
69. So people are taking their time to make a decision. So don't look at days on the market thinking that, oh my gosh, I don't know if the market is slow or not. 69 days is a reasonable time for somebody to start looking and buy a home. I understand we are coming out of a market of 6 hours on the market.
Yeah.
Nobody can live in that.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to see my people go through that again.
No.
Seriously, I don't want to go through that again.
No.
Like you're writing 18 offers for one property. How is that a
It
good
also,
decision?
it also seems it seems like there's a lot of things that people are going to have to take into consideration because when I'm looking at the Texas A&M numbers right here, right, month over month change. Naturally, we know August is not as hot as July. Again, kids are going back to school. But if we look at Dallas's numbers down here, where sales volume has gone down 10%. I there's the analysis or the idea that I'm coming to is these are people
Uh-oh. Roger, I can't hear you. Could you hear him, Ro?
No, I hear him speaking upstairs in the office.
Can't hear you. Okay. You know why this is happening? Because we have some really good shit to say, and
Yeah,
one doesn't want us to say it, but we're saying it.
yeah. Okay, while Roger is doing this, all right, I want to kind of share a crazy, crazy graph. I don't know if I can share it. You know what? Let me kick him out of the.
all right,
Oh, we hear you.
you hear
Fine.
me?
Yeah.
Okay, I think my mic is malfunctioning, so I will find another way.
Well,
Until the
John said there's a payback for laughing at Rosie. Keep going. Keep going.
No, so I was just making I was at the question. I said, how many of those sales that, those 10% decrease in sales to,
Roger, swear to God, today what is happening with us? We can't hear
I'm
you.
telling you, this is such good shit that the powers that be don't want us to say it. We're doing it.
Well, listen, while he's figuring out his voice, I'll tell you this. So, all our investors out there, all our people who buy investment properties with us, number one question is like, why is it taking forever to rent? Why is it taking forever to rent? So, I'm going to share with you how many leases are getting run, how many rent. Okay, I wish I can just share my screen. Roger is gone. Yay, I get to present. Okay, watch this, guys. I'm about to show you next magical stuff and how we can just play around with this. Bree, you're my confirmation if everybody can see my screen, okay?
I don't see any. I see Rogers still.
Okay. Present. Okay, share screen. Share screen. Share screen.
No.
How is that?
Oh, wait. Yep, got it.
Okay,
Whoa.
so So look at this, Bree. Okay. I said Williamson County, Round Rock City, right? I'm not adding any more criteria, just journal information for the leases, right? 56 leases in happened month to date in October or month to date. So in 10 days,
10
52 leases.
days.
Yep, 10 days, right? And look at this at the bottom, leases by weeks, right? In May, highest number of leases, then it goes down. So look at this. It's starting to go back up, like
Yeah.
from 38, 37, 40, 57, right? So what people are trying to compare themselves is to 2023 and 2024 and 2022. Look at in 2022, how low we were riding, right? So when people are saying market is going to still go down, I don't know what other evidence we can show them where you can evidently see that this was 2022, the little beige line.
Yeah.
The green is also, it's already higher than 2022. Now we are riding 2023, the darkest line, which is pretty much in alignment. We're not away from 2023. So it's not the market is declining, we are sustaining, or at times we're beating it. Look at this. Uh, in 20, look at this. 20 right here.
Mm-hmm.
2023 68, 2022 38, 2024 78,
Wow.
right? So it's a progression going up. So the months that are down, so let's look at that. 36, 46, 66.
Respects.
And what are we looking at? You guys can hear me, right?
Now we can, yeah.
Okay, so what are we looking at here on this chart?
So what we're showing is, Roger, like people are buying rental properties with us, right? Most of our investors buy our properties, or people who are buying passive income, right? Or even if people are looking to buy homes for rent, for living. This is how we're looking at it. This is the data by week for 3 different years, right? Look at the how many leases by week we are writing. So in week 18 of the year, you see in 2022, we wrote 38 leases. 2023, we wrote 68. 2024, we wrote 78. It's an improvement, not further decline.
Mm-hmm.
Then I show people here, even here, this is the only month, week 25 around June, where we saw different activity in 2022, and 2023 was higher, but 2024 was a little lower, right?
But
Now,
remember, in
Hmm?
2022, of that time, that's when the rates went up. So more people were leasing because they couldn't buy anymore.
Exactly. And all of a sudden, people who couldn't sell, they ended up putting their properties on the market for rent because they didn't want to sell that low, right? So in 2024, we don't know if there was an inventory issue. Now, look at this right here. It's going up or sustaining. So it's not going down. That's where I'm telling people they're making an error. Even right here, look, 40, 27, 57.
57.
Right. So we are writing more and more leases, and wherever there is stabilization, it's mounts and leaps. It's just 7 to 10 difference. And the days on the market, I am telling you, please do not look at days on the market to determine if the market is good or bad. This is completely buyers and tenants taking their time.
Or having a property on the market that has tenants in it and you can't even lease it out until 30 or 45 days later.
That's right. And people are putting their houses on the market more and more earlier than before, right? So this is an indicative, forget everything. We are bottom line writing more leases.
I mean, I think, look, values are sustaining, and otherwise they'd be plummeting, right? So we are seeing inventory come on. We are seeing a decline, naturally, because interest rates were higher. But what do you guys think about the idea when we say, how many of the buyers in actuality, because I want to make this a real conversation, how many of the buyers that you're working with, Bree, were waiting for interest rates or for the Fed to call the cuts?
How many of our buyers?
Yeah. We're saying, you know what, I'll do something. I'm just waiting for the final. Or how many, okay, rather than saying how many were actually waiting, I would ask the question, what percentage of our buyers were mentioning the Fed cut and how it's going to impact their buying decision? Bringing it up in conversation.
I would say almost everyone's bringing it up in conversation, but after speaking about it and looking at what they can get versus if we were to wait for a Fed cut, a lot of people got into action quicker, and we were able to help them negotiate a good deal and buy something. So,
and quite honestly, I did okay, so let me share the screen over here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. 1 second. Okay.
After this,
So,
absolutely
so
right.
this article came out on the 18th, right? And interest rates, the announcement on the interest rates was on the 19th, I believe. So people were already talking to their loan officers, getting their application in, and it's for a lot of people, I guess, that haven't bought for a long time or maybe unaware of the idea that you lock in your rate with your mortgage professional as you're getting closer to the actual close date, right? So you're not, the day that you speak with your mortgage professional is not the day that you're locking in your rate. You're starting your application process and moving the ball forward, right?
Yeah, you can't lock until you have a property to lock the rate with.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that people are having conversations with their mortgage professionals leading up to that date and there's 14% increase, I would say anyone who's on the fence about buying can expect that many more buyers to flood the market. I mean, this is, especially if there's another cut now, I don't think we're hearing like the economy is strong. So
Rates went down and then they went back up a little bit because the job market came out and said jobs were up. So anytime they say jobs are up, it's not great. They dropped the rates a little bit, or they increased the rates a little bit, and that's what they did.
yeah, and if you want to see where the rates are, I can drop a link in the, or provide a link, I guess, in the newsletter that we put out, so you can follow rates closely if that's something that you care about.
So I want to talk about something here. So if you look at this right here, right? People are often wondering, can you all see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Okay, if you want me to make it bigger or something, let me know, okay? So here's the thing. People keep talking about, and this is the strategy we have been using for investing for a very long time. So if you look at this, right? I don't
So this is buyer demand, monthly buyer demand.
Yes, this is monthly buyer demand, right? So in a certain price point, we are seeing a hike. This is September, and I'm going to put the Williamson County just to kind of make it a little bit easier to read. So we're not having much of an average conversation. In Williamson County, we have been telling people, look at how the buyer demand has dropped in a higher price point, but in lower price point, it has gone up 21%.
Mm.
So when I'm telling people to buy properties under 300K, this is the reason we're telling you to buy it.
And I'll tell you, because there was no inventory previously in that range.
Yeah, and now we have
Under 400 was becoming disappearing.
yes. So when people are okay, if you cannot find anything in 299 range, buy the next best range.
Rosie,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're doing this. Go over to average percent over or under asking. So this is saying that the average percent over under asking once it's closed, right, is somewhere in between 2 to 4 or 5%, right?
Yeah. For the lower price point.
For the lower, well, and even go higher price point, it's still almost 5%.
Yeah,
But lower price point 2 to 3%, right?
Look at this. Yeah, this is percentage over or under asking, right? So it was very, very high, means 5.5% above market, 6.2% above market. This is 2022. Look at all the opportunity. Nobody is asking over asking. We are all under asking.
And let me ask you this, because I had this conversation with a buyer the other day, and they were talking about wanting to negotiate 75K on a property that was 399.
Yeah.
And I said, look, how about 50K? All right. And they're like, and I said, when did over 10% negotiations become a bad thing? Over 10%, this is great if you were able to do that.
Yeah. I have a simple question. How are we coming up with the $75,000 negotiation price? What criteria are we using? Okay, we're not playing with emotions here. It's not like, let me get happier and make you sad. It's not an emotion negotiation. This is a real estate negotiation. So if you're looking in this price point, look at the percentage off below asking. You can go 5% below asking and you're okay. And look at the number of sales in these price points. This is a hot price point. You can go down,
Rosie.
I want to nip something else.
Wait, that percentage, that delta's number of sales, average over under asking, go over. It's
to the right. Yeah. So what I'm trying to show you here is that Look at the number of sales that are happening in these price points. If there are 810 sales happening in this price point, you have high competition. You cannot ask $75,000 below asking. You're basically negotiating the property for you
Okay,
and
hold on. Let's nip
other
something in
buyers
the
buy.
bud real quick. If there was $75,000 to be negotiated, would you guys have any problem with giving that to the
No,
buyer?
No,
So
no,
if you knew that 75K was theirs, you'd be happy and willing to make it available,
100%.
100%.
and you'd go to bat for them for that 75K.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there's a conversation in the marketplace where agents don't want to negotiate on the price because it means that they're going to make less money.
Let me give you the
How
biggest
ridiculous
myth.
of an idea is that?
I am going to give you the biggest myth that every buyer lives in. Every buyer thinks that the only price they negotiate is the price that an agent negotiates for them. So if they don't have something to show off on a mountaintop that they can print on a flag and fly everywhere and show that, oh, I got 60,000 over below asking, that's a deal. I would say that's the stupidest way of negotiating. And I will tell you why. Before a seller drops the price to a buyer by $75,000, they're willing to drop the price by $25,000 at a time to tap into a new pool of buyers.
Yep.
You're never, as a buyer should never look at a property and say, oh, it was listed for this much, I got this much deal. That's wrong. That means you maybe just barely paid market value because you're going after a price on the paper.
You
Here's
said it
how
doesn't mean much. It doesn't mean much to how aggressive you negotiate doesn't mean much. It's the
mean
market value.
anything. The real question you want to answer is that what did that property sell for in a hot market and what did you buy for in today's market? This is the accurate information.
Okay, let me ask
Anything else is just
you a
bragging
question.
market.
For a property that's selling for 375, how much would it be?
$399.
399. What would have to happen in order for you to negotiate $75,000 down?
Roof needs to be bad. Foundation needs to be bad. The house needs a complete remodel.
And
I have something.
give me some more.
700.
Ask that question. Ask that question again. Ask that question again.
Okay, for a property that's selling for in the threes, 325,
No, $399.
399. What would you have to do to get a $75,000 price drop?
I have one answer.
Hmm.
The property has to be priced 75,000 above the market value for it to be negotiated by 75,000.
Wow, that's
Yep.
strong.
That's the only way one can negotiate that price off the market value because you got to back up your offer with reasoning. Just because you feel like it is not the way to negotiate. It's the biggest way people make fool out of themselves. And I'll tell you how they make fool out of themselves. They submit an offer on a property and they submit an offer on a property, let's suppose my client. And my client is not very reasonable right now. They are wanting to test the market and they're probably on the market saying, okay, I want to price it $75,000 high and see if I can get it. But they have no idea the conversation that's happening between a broker and a seller behind the scenes. So here's what conversation looks like. An offer comes in $75,000 below asking. I go to my seller and say, guys, you have one or three choices to handle this situation. Either you can go back and ask the buyer, how did they come up with $75,000 negotiation? And whatever they say, if it's reasonable, we will work with them and come to an amount that will work for you and them. Number two, you can completely reject the offer and look for another buyer on the market because between your price and 75,000 below asking, there are hundreds of buyers who are not aware of this negotiation that you're about to do with this buyer. Option number three, we can adjust the property price by 25K and see if we get more buyers. And if we don't, we can price it by another 25K. Even if you landed an offer by doing two price adjustments at 25K, you still only gave 50K down, not 75K down.
Yeah.
So what's happening is when buyers are going around and doing these heavy negotiations, they are preparing sellers for a better price with another buyer. So basically you're negotiating and helping other people buy properties. How does that make you feel? I don't like it.
No.
It's not a good strategy.
Mm-mm.
Bree, you're foggy. I hope I'm not.
Yeah, I think that one of the dumbest conversations I hear, and maybe these people are in the relationship with the wrong people, is that agents don't have any incentive in in negotiating for their clients. I don't care who's paying the commission, buyer or seller. I'll tell you this: I personally could give. That's an after effect. Getting paid for the work that you've done is the after effect. Getting that buyer what they deserve or getting that seller what they deserve is priority number one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know of anybody who can process reality in any other way. I mean, I'm just maybe fortunate enough not to know those people.
And
So
there are people who are afraid to negotiate. I know there are.
I
And I
think they're
know
afraid to negotiate, but I don't think they're not thinking of their incentive. They're
incentive.
thinking about how not to mess up the deal and how to get paid at the end of the
They
close.
are not thinking strategically on how to negotiate. That's the
Yeah.
lack. But this idea that where people say, you know what, my agent didn't do shit, my broker didn't do anything to negotiate. I really want to see how that conversation really looked like.
Yeah.
I really want to know what was your criteria that a broker was able to discover, which is broker's responsibility, and what is the strategy that they implemented in making sure you find the property in your criteria at the best price that's available to you.
Yeah.
A lot goes between, one of my mentors told me, your life is all about I am, which is a dash between the year you're born and the year you're going to die. So the whole life is all about that little dash on your tombstone, right? So if you're born in 1980 and you're leaving in 2080, right? Whatever that dash is what your life is, right? So my thing is a little bit different. I said real estate acquisition is a dash between the day you met your broker and the day you closed. How are you defining that little dash? I am wanting this, and what they are willing to do is what determines the dash.
Yeah.
So you decide if that relationship is working or not. If it's not, get out of it quicker. Because once that closing date happens and it's marked on your property, there ain't nothing going back. So the only going forward is mortgage payments
Yep.
and
Hey,
tenants and toilets.
Tenants and toilets.
so look, I know a lot of our viewers are going to want to hear about what's going on in our city. What is the major news that's coming available that's going to impact the value of their real estate? And so I'd like to jump into a little bit of that if I
Let's
have
do it.
your guys' blessings.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So guys, first off, this is really good. Like, this is really cool. I think it's just being proposed right now, so it's not actually in the works. But let me share my screen with you. This is something that's going on in Austin. If we have enough time, we'll cover Dallas and Houston as well. But this is actually Congress, the Capitol, right? So this is brand new. This is like hot off the press. But they're thinking about closing this area off in front of the Paramount, making it all pedestrian and on Congress. And I think it's going to cost around $130 million to do this project. But I really think that if we do have more than just getting drunk on 6th Street and give people variety of their experiences, this would be a good thing for our city. Because after all, a lot of people do end up moving here after experiencing what Austin has to offer. So more parks, and there was a report recently on CoStar and I'll share it in our PDF or accompanying PDF, but it shows that parks actually are really good for growth, for economic growth, right? So they have several cities that they use to use as case studies on that. But I'd love before I go to the next news, I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you think about this?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. It's ACL weekend was last weekend and coming up this weekend too. It's inevitable that people are going to come for ACL and they want to end up moving here or buying an investment property here afterwards. So, I mean, closing by the Paramount would be so awesome. Think about if you went to a show or something at the Paramount and were able to walk around right there, maybe have, something to eat or ice cream. I love it.
One thing I would say is that look at all the streets that get blocked off when big events are happening.
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable to make it a walkable area because not only now you're inviting the party crowd, you're inviting families.
Yeah.
People with strollers, they're not going to want to fight traffic with their kids in their strollers, or little kids who just want to run off and play, right?
Mm.
Kids are doing what they're supposed to do, but here we have uh, pedicab drivers, we have our cars, our scooters, our bikers, everybody in the same lane. Walkability score is very low in that area. So I think this is fantastic. We're going to have more events and more attendance and
Mhm.
more revenue.
Yeah. And so this was announced on October 9th. And
Nice.
so it'll be blocking vehicles from traveling.
Yesterday? Wow.
Yeah, yesterday. So this is really, really cool news. I'm really happy to hear this. This is the kind of stuff that fires me up. And then for those people that are coming to the city, and by the way, I think this kind of stuff, I'm going to get to why I think it's a really big deal right now more than ever before. So here's another, for those people who are coming to our city and want to have a good time, there's a local group of restaurant owners. I think it's like MML Hospitality or something like that. And Sixth and Blanco is their project. They're spending $200 million on revamping this area. It's the Clarksville area, right? So I can show you where it is. It's right here in front of Swedish Hill, the cafe,
Mhm.
right on the other side of Whole Foods and 24 Diner. So
Mhm.
over 24 Diner, and you're trying to get back on Mopac to go north. This is that area there, and so they're going to spend $200 million. And what I think that's going to do is uh, perhaps I think it's just going to be nicer. It's going to be nicer. I mean, I imagine if they're spending this much money, it's not going to be just a bunch of bars and people getting drunk, but could be like culinary
Yeah.
experiences and that sort of thing.
They're
You know,
creating more friendly environment for families and kids too. That I'm seeing a lot
yeah,
of it. Mhm.
yeah, a haven for luxury brands. That's because West Sixth Street is, yeah. So it's west of West Sixth Street, right? So we know West Sixth to be a little bit cleaner than Dirty Six, and so this will probably just be a progression of that. So MML Hospitality, they're also looking at a 57-room hotel and more renderings of the drawings. And so I think that there may be some nice retail on the bottom there and things, places for you to shop and have a good time. Yeah.
I love this.
Because a lot of demographics that live around downtown, they're high price point real estates,
Oh, get
right?
this. Look, let me read this to you. Homes will be built on the top two levels of the 5-story Sixth and Blanco at an average of 4,600 square feet and starting price of $10 million.
Wow.
Yep, that's exactly what I was trying to go to. I was like, a lot of real estate is high dollar real estate around downtown.
Yeah,
And those people don't necessarily have money to spend in that area. So I
right.
can see why luxury brands are wanting to come to Sixth Street so they can go into a walkable distance, because people go into Westlake area and Rolling Woods area for a convenience, right? They want to be in the city, they want to be close. But if they don't have any place to enjoy luxury, then they're having to go to different cities, or sometimes I hear Dallas, they drive to Dallas for luxury.
Yeah.
And Austin, I think, is changing the definition for them now.
Yeah. And this is cool. This is a condo project coming up closer to 15th in San Antonio. And the reason why I was excited about this is because even from this rendering, you can see there are very few tall buildings around here. This is kind of like where and you
Yeah.
can see from the rendering, it's taller than most of the buildings around it, right? So that's the Moody's Bank. And our friend owns the Clay Pit restaurant, Indian restaurant, right around the corner. And so these are 300 residences. And what happens when you have high density living in that much area? I think everybody benefits. The local restaurants benefit, the businesses, and everything else. And now you're starting to see new things pop up. So I know this is still within downtown, but I feel like with the addition of this residence, we're starting to see higher density and kind of growing outwards. And I know Lamar would be the exception. If we saw a high rise, being built on the other side of Lamar, that would be truly transformational of skyline and the growth of our Austin downtown. But this is still a really big deal for me. I think it's really interesting to see
And I
that.
think one of the things that would be great to observe is that if we grab the zip code in that Travis County area of downtown and showed people how inventory is moving there.
Oh, perfect.
How,
We can do that
how,
in the next
how
one.
things are happening in North Austin and how they're happening in South Austin are very different. Most people make mistake of thinking, oh, $400,000 a price point that's disappearing here. I should look at the same in other places. No, not the same thing.
Yeah, and then just bouncing into a different, wholly different. I know we talked to the high luxury and the real estate ideas of downtown and that sort of thing. Now, looking at Dell, they're calling their employees back to the office. And I was joking with a friend the other day, and I was saying, yeah, office occupants. We were talking about office space, and he goes, well, they keep saying they're calling everyone back to the office, but he says all of my neighbors are working from home, so I don't know exactly who they're calling back, which I thought was funny. Um, but piggybacking off of this, Dallas has, for the very first time in, I think it's more than a decade. I don't know how, it's going back really far. This is the first time they've had zero major office construction projects. And so what that tells me is that there's going to be a point in time, and I don't know when or if or how, but if you can imagine, let's just instead of me forecasting, let me just say this, that anytime we've stopped building a certain asset class of real estate, it's ended up becoming really high in demand, right? Because there's a gap to fill. So what's the future of office space? I have no idea, but I do know this, that anytime we've backed off on building, for instance, retail, houses, multifamily, then all of a sudden we have a shortage and there's a lot of money to be made later on. So um, look at the deals that are coming across your desk, and if they're cash flowing, and this is the worst of the worst that I can imagine. There's graphs I can share in the PDF that are showing a leveling out or a plateauing of office vacancies. So I really like that asset class. And last but not least, there's a $600 million supplier for Samsung that's coming in, and they're going to be working on phosphoric acid plant. It's called Soul Brain. I thought that was a cool name. So Soul Brain is coming into, is it Taylor?
Evidence number one, Samsung ain't going anywhere.
Oh, in between Taylor and Hutto?
Yeah, $600 million. And I know this question was asked last week, and I love these questions when they come in. It means everything because we get to clarify these things. But I actually talked to David Porter of Williamson County, and he says that the Samsung they just change out their staff every 2 years, and that's what they're doing. So.
Yeah, so just to clarify who's Dave Porter, he is the head of economic development in Williamson County and had a major role to play for bringing Samsung into the Williamson County area. And he confirmed when there were rumors around Samsung is going away that it's not something that's happening. It's actually a transition of employees that they regularly do.
Yeah, I know John. I know he comes from tech industry, and so that is a part of the article. A lot of people are saying, "Well, fire us. We don't want fire us if you have to, but we still want to work from home." So I think we'll explore and see. I mean, what is the future of office? Is a big question mark, right? With companies and new labor, new staff, and all this other stuff. I mean, how's that going to impact things? We'll have to wait and see. But
Maybe they just need to start paying people for the time it takes to drive there.
Yeah. There's a lot of other exciting news, and I'm not going to bore y'all with news. But long story short, guys, if there's anything that I'd want our viewers to walk away with watching today's episode, is that you're walking into the fourth quarter. This is the time to make a deal and negotiate, and trust the fact that when you're working with us, we want to see you win, and we want to see we will go to bat for you. We will negotiate for you, and it's not, I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that, but that's kind of where I'm.
Bree, what do you want to say to them?
To who?
To all the buyers who are buying?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Call me.
So
Call me.
we announced something last week at Coffee Social, and
Wait,
that was that
before we do that, Coffee Social tomorrow is at
Pine
Pine View Coffee Social. Yeah.
Pine
A
View.
lot of people complained to us that Round Rock was too far. So we're going to continue to play around. They're just going to have to deal with us. Not
Yeah,
our people, the coffee shop people.
The coffee shop.
yeah, people. No, John, you make a good point. Absolutely. Hey, I'm all for people working from home. I enjoy working from home, and a lot of the work we do is out on the road, and with outside in the community, showing property or visiting property. So I totally understand what you're saying, and but the only way I guess that my lens is a real estate lens. What does it mean for the office space, and what are these companies? How do they plan on filling that office space or paying for it? So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not the one making the commute, so I definitely don't have any emotional attachment to that. But let's see what happens. It is something exciting and something to kind of see how it plays out. So Pineview Coffee Company tomorrow, 9:30 to 11. And we also made the big announcement that we're doing a property tour. And what would you say you want to see people walking away with from a property tour?
My big thing is, go Bree.
No, go ahead.
My big thing is to help people see it for themselves what it takes to evaluate a property. What factors play the role in making sure the property is going to receive an offer that is reasonable for a buyer to buy and a seller to sell? I want to remove that ambiguity for people because I don't think there is a single resource out there that helps people see what it takes to sell. Why does a property stay on the market and why one sells? What is the difference? I would love for people to see it firsthand. And the things that actually go into making a property more desirable to sell.
Agreed.
And you, Brie, what do you think? What would be helpful with property tour?
Everything you said.
Let's go.
Yeah. I definitely would love to take a look at aged inventory, see how we can apply offers on those properties to win. And like you said, I think if we can actually get out there and look at some property, a lot of people will move off the fence and make a decision
Yeah.
and get to see the upside especially after like a group activity and getting to discuss.
And guys, please know that these are the things that what we do, like today showing up on Tuesday, Thursday call, Friday coffee socials, doing property tours. It takes a tremendous amount of preparation, thinking, and strategy on our part. So it's not that we are winging it and we just have hours to burn. We do think that this is what our people need right now in this moment of ambiguity. The best thing we can do as professionals is bring certainty to you in the moments of uncertainty. That is our number one responsibility. And if you are not gaining more confidence while you're working with us, or you're not able to gain more clarity about what's happening in the market, then this relationship needs improvement. And every relationship needs improvement. We don't want y'all to ever feel like that you don't know what you're doing. I think you guys have a lot of understanding of what's happening. And when paired with the right expertise, you can move mountains. Let's do it together.
And Rosie, you hit on a good note. I think it's important for me and the reason why do we preview properties, right? We preview properties so we can stay on top of value. So when we can have a great perception of value when we
Yeah.
it.
I'll give you a hands-on example, and I hope one of my people that I'm helping right now is listening to this call. Yesterday, I spent 2.5 hours working with a seller who is a really good friend of ours, which people think, oh, it's just a referral. Our responsibility is almost double, triple when people trust us by word of mouth. I literally got her in the car and we looked at good 7-8 properties before we were pricing her property to go on the market, because I want her to see for herself, why is she going to spend money in painting a property? Why is staging important? What does our competition look like? Removing ambiguity brings commitment to the process. And when you have commitment, you have confidence in the process. So ambiguity is like, if you're not sure, let's talk about dating world. If the girl and the boy are not sure if they want to spend time together for life, there ain't no marriage happening because there's too much ambiguity around the relationship, if we remove the ambiguity and they're 100% sure that they're right for each other and they love the way they make each other feel and they love the way what they bring out of each other, the commitment happens easily. It's a byproduct of it. So our responsibility in this relationship is to remove the ambiguity and have 100% commitment around what you should buy. So let's do it together.
Perfect. Sounds beautiful.
All right.
Anything you guys want to add?
Today we delivered 55 minutes and 20 seconds of high value
I
information.
waited until I got to 55. I saw an off-market property this morning. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. Call me about it. It's a really badass deal.
That's the email I just got, right?
It should have come. It should have went out earlier.
No, I know. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Do you remember the subject line in case they're wondering?
Off-market. I don't know.
Yeah, I did.
Off
Okay.
market.
That's the one I saw.
Yes. Call us on that.
Bad
Okay,
ass.
so it's exclusive off-market investment opportunity in Austin, Texas. Call now. You have our phone numbers up here and take a look at that deal. Look, you got to do the homework if you want the grade, right? So
This deal, guys, I don't see this price point with this kind of rent. And I look every single week. So
I know when she's serious because her eyes bulge out of her sockets. She's serious.
No, I know it's serious when she says, yeah, let's go.
Ah, nice. Hey, what do y'all have to say for everyone who's not getting that email?
you better text us right now.
Yeah.
No.
Rosie,
Stop,
starter kit.
stop unsubscribing us.
Yes. Don't unsubscribe. You'll miss out on all the good deals.
What do you say to someone that says, yeah, I bet it's not even a deal. They just putting it in my face.
Don't buy it. If it's not a deal, don't buy it.
No.
Look
So
at the numbers.
literal effort being placed. That's actually what I wanted to highlight. There's effort being placed in finding the deal.
My only
That's-
question is, why would I send you something that's not a good deal? How is it beneficial to me and you both? Like, that's a freaking waste of time. MLS is already doing it for you. There's everything listed there. I don't think. If I'm explaining this, we're far off.
Yeah.
All right.
If we're saying this, we're not for you.
57 seconds, 57 minutes and 37 seconds. I value.
We got
Love
it.
you guys. Hey, I got an appointment to go. Love you all. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.